Time is it?
Pasa pasa,
Time.
pasa pasa.
Time. Every gal, every gal, every gal, every gal. I go me a
Pasa pasa.
don't stop, girl. Wine, wine, drink until I get. Drink and rave till the morning light, my
What it? Center, 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 center. Have a drop stand.
uptown, downtown.
You know who this is.
Hot man, all these them no bad like me.
Who inspires you?
Maybe we could do rounds. Maybe we could do rounds. So it'll be multiple people that we're able to
Okay,
share.
so it doesn't have to be one person. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Man, that's
Can
hard.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Maybe let's start with family. That's easy. Not really easy, but that's
Sorry.
probably a lot easier to define. Maybe not. Why this rough?
Just the rounds. Don't worry about who. Just the rounds.
Okay, but somebody gotta start.
It's gotta
I
be
can start.
Carrie.
I can kick us off. So this question about who inspires you, I'm sharing one of the people. There are many people in my life who inspire me. A couple weeks back, I was doing a show with this friend of mine from Rutgers. Her name is Andre Osei, and she's one of the people who I look to when I'm like in I don't know, in a funk, in a space. I'm just like, this girl is just charging ahead. Like she'll think about something and it's just grand. It's just amazing. And then next thing you know, like, yeah, this is happening. And so remembering our interaction as young college kids and being cute at Rutgers and being in little shows and just like, a real college
Just
ass.
Carrie's life, by the way, none of ours. Just Carrie's. Just Carrie's life.
But just thinking about her journey is phenomenal. It's just like, wow, this is a young girl, you know, from you know where we come from, Black communities, and just very determined to reach this greatness that I'm just like, yeah, that inspires me. That inspires me to keep going on days when things feel rough to me. So I want to shout her out because she is, you know, on my mind on any random day. So yeah.
That's awesome. What was she doing before she decided to dive deep into this world that she's in now?
So she is a pharmacist by trade. She still
Got it.
works as a pharmacist,
Oh,
which is one of the reasons why I think she's so amazing, because I'm like, you know, people push this entrepreneur life and it's like, you got to have a backup. Like you got to have a 9 to 5. And I'm not suggesting that people don't make the switch. They do. But I think she's showing what it takes to make that switch. And it's not as easy as people make it out to be. So she still works as a pharmacist and she's a designer. She's done women's clothes. She had her brand Domesticated Drea where she was doing women's stuff. Then she was doing a children's line called Peanut Clothing.
wow.
And then now she's in bridal stuff, like just living out her talent. And I'm just like,
That's awesome.
you go, girl. You know, it's just amazing.
In my next life, I'm gonna be a pharmacist because it looks like that's where it's at. Because I mean, you know, Said, who I follow on Instagram, I live vicariously through him because he travels everywhere.
Oh,
Said. And
Okay,
Said
yes.
is a pharmacist. And they're like, are you a pharmacist part-time? He's like, no, that's my full-time job.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And I'm like, God, I needed to be a pharmacist. Needed to be a pharmacist. This is what I get out of every time I watch him on Instagram. I'm like, I needed to be a pharmacist, obviously, because what is life right now? Obviously, this ain't it. This ain't it. So good for her.
Yeah, her stuff was beautiful.
Definitely.
Made me want to
Agreed.
get married again.
No,
You
I don't know about
said,
all of that now, but
No, for real, I did.
like you want to wear a dress, not
For
true,
real, I really,
Sophie.
really
Vow
did. I said,
renewals. I mean, vow renewals are coming up. We at that mark.
listen, I actually said I need to call Carrie to see if we can talk to her friend about that dress this other girl behind you was wearing. No joke. I said
you need the
we
veil at least. The veil was
we have to have a
bomb.
conversation.
.com.
Gorgeous.
Have that
I don't know if I can
conversation,
afford
man.
her but
It's
at least a
stunning.
conversation should be had, okay?
Yeah, it's stunning.
And she's custom, right? So she's customizing.
Yeah, I'm gonna need those digits. Just put
And
that out there.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I reached all the way to India trying to get me a custom made.
Oh,
I'm
not
good.
India.
Yeah,
Don't do it, girl.
India.
We don't
Okay.
need to pick India now
There's-
when we got people
listen,
here.
Right? There's this lady
Don't do it.
on Etsy that does custom made, and I reached out to her, but she was like, "Yeah, you're not gonna get it in time, ma'am."
Right? That might be your
Dang,
only
over a
problem,
month.
even with
Yeah.
This
Andrea,
one, right?
the time. Mm-hmm.
Wow, who
Crazy.
inspires me? I will have to say, ever since I can remember, my sister has been my literally everything. Like
Yeah.
my sister, and it's so funny because we don't talk every day, we don't talk every week, but I guarantee my sister is on my mind every chance my mind gets to not think about life, real bills and stuff like that. Like my sister's just been amazing. I remember as a kid growing up, my dad was here in America. My mom, and she's only 3 years older than me, so it's not like she's much older. My dad was in America. My mom had traveled to the Cayman Islands, so we were, you know, my grandmother came over to stay with us, but technically we were living on our own because grandma was there, but grandma just like whatever.
On our
And
own thing.
literally, and my sister, when I tell you, she took on the role as mom and dad. It was from that moment I literally became obsessed with my sister because I was just amazed how well she did it. And again, remember, she's only 3 years older than us. But I vividly remember her making sure we had dinner. Her like grandma was there, but my sister was doing it all. And then she was still killing it at school. Like I can't ever remember a time where she wasn't number one in her class. So she was doing amazing at school, but still taking care of the house like a grown adult. My sister would give us all our lunch money and walk to school. Now, I don't know if anyone out there knows the distance from Denver Spend to Seaford. Of course, they are not country people, so forgive me, but it's far.
Nope.
Okay. And she would get up at 5 in the morning, 5:30, with no breakfast, just a cup of tea, and she will get herself ready and she will walk across the river, down the highway, through some shortcuts to get to school. She has never missed class, not for money, not for food.
How old
And
was
I'm
she?
not gonna. Um, at the time when my mom, it's a good question. This is when she was in high school, right? So I'm gonna say you go to high school when you're what? Freshman?
Depends. 12,
No, she went early. That early one where you pass
11.
common entrance early. So she passed common entrance very
Under
early.
10
So
or
she went
11 is
early.
early. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like 11. Because
So
11,
then
you could be in 5th or 6th grade. So that's you're going in 7th. So if you're skipping that 6th grade portion, you could be 11.
well, that's it. Because I remember she did start high school very early. And my mom left, I believe, no sooner. I don't want to miss up the dates, but I just remember her never missed a beat. And it was at that moment I remember saying, I want to be like my sister. Like
Mm.
I want to be like my sister. I want to do everything she's done. Now I've done nothing that she's done. However, in the back of my mind, I'm still saying it. I want to be like my sister. The only problem is we don't like the same things, right? Like she's all computer techie person, and I like nothing about the computer at all. I'm all like hair, clothes, and she cares nothing about that stuff. my sister would have her hair in a bun every day, all day for the rest of her life, and she'd be perfectly fine. That would not be me. So we're as far as the east is from the west. But even knowing that in the back of my mind, I tell myself every day, I aspire to be like my sister. She's just an amazing human being, kind, take the clothes off her back, as my grandmother would say, and walk naked so that you'll be comfortable. That is her, and I just admire everything about her, and I admire her strength, especially with her kids. It's a lot with them, and I have never once seen her yelling at God, saying, "Why?" You know, whenever I talk to her and I say to her, "How do you do it?" She's always said, "Since the Lord gave them to me, woman for do, make the best of it." I'm like, in my mind, I would have been like, Lord, why? You know, but she just always like, that's how he gave them to me. So I'm gonna make the best of it. That to me is just a strength that I wish I had. So my sister is definitely the person who inspired me the most. And I am grateful to have such a big sister in my life, honestly.
Awesome.
That's dope. That is dope. I love that.
Yes.
Love that. Love that.
I guess speaking
Shout
of
out to her.
family,
Big sisters are the best.
They are.
I mean, I'm not big sister. How me I gonna say this?
I was just shouting me and carry on. Keep going.
But Misha's a big sister too, so which means all three of you are the best.
Oh yeah. So
Oh,
I'm
that's what you
Teresa.
mean. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, I was shouting us out.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Fine.
Pat yourself on the back.
Got it. Got it now. So I will roll with that. And as you said, there are tons of people who I pull inspiration from. I don't know that there are a ton of people that I can say this person inspired me since, well, maybe I can, which is what I'm going to do. But I think it hits differently in different parts of my life. Like as I'm going through certain things, the inspiration hits differently. Like when I was younger, my grandmother used to, for example, when we were doing common entrance and say it was a Saturday and everybody in the family going beach day, me and her would stay home and study. And it was the worst thing in the world. Like, why I gotta stay home? Never had I ever thought she gotta stay home too. I'm just like, this woman is evil. What kind of woman would not allow me to go to the beach and everybody else is going to the beach? And she did that with all of her grandkids. There was no limitations, and she has 12 of them, and she did it with all of them. It wasn't just me. But as I got older, and when I went back to Jamaica, I spent a lot of time with her. I would go over to her house, and just sit. She did a memoir. I don't know if it's called a memoir. It's just like a book on her journey, the moments that God can, where she noticed God very vividly, like this happened and it obviously is not me, like it's just not possible. And so we sat down and we wrote the book, and there are tons of times in that, when they said we wrote the book, she wrote the book, I typed it. Like she would write it and I would type it. And there are tons of times then where I was just in complete awe, just had no idea how. She raised 5 kids pretty much on her own, and also had an elderly parent. She had her mother there, and she was going to school full time. I have 2 children. I'm not in school. I have a full-time job, and I don't even, I can't fathom. I just have no idea how you can raise 5 children, because my grandfather was in the military, and so he went to London all the time to, be a part of that. And so she was home by herself, going to work. She was an educator. She was a teacher for a long time, and then she worked with the ministry for a long time. So she was working full time, raising 5 small children with her mother, who was, as I said, elderly and very sickly, and she was going to school full time. And I still don't know how that's possible. And I remember going through my divorce and being so concerned about people understanding why. And she didn't ask no question. And this is a woman, I'm telling you, when people say them have like a line to God, this woman have a like strict, like, you know, when you plug in the something, she have a plug in thing straight to God. There, I am convinced of it. And so I was concerned about, you know, faith and people's perception, all these things, and she had no questions. It was just like encouragement and like, you know, I understand, and this is about you and the children, and that's what she was about. And I there are just times that I am just completely in awe of her. And when I think about how hard life is, I just compare my life to hers, and I'm like, okay, life is easy, I'm good. That is all the inspiration I need. Is she happened to raise amazing people, amazing human being who happened to pass that on. And so just generationally, that's an accomplishment that not a lot of people can say. And so that is, if nothing else, and I experienced that obviously as an adult. I didn't realize, it's not like I was little and look, you know, you're little and you're all up on your grandmother like an elbow and you're like, oh, my grandmother. It wasn't that. It was as an adult, I realized how amazing she was. And realized that there is no way under God's green earth that I could live up to what she's done. And so I use that as a standard. Like I use that as a way to find hope, to find a way forward, to like chart my path in some way, more than anybody else. That's what I do. And I know there are, as I said, tons of people that experience things, and I use that as well. Because if I ever tell you about the days that I used to go by Lati house and Lati sit down, Lati never have no bus fare. We'll find a way for go Lati house. Lati don't have no light in our yard. We sit down outside and do homework under street lamp, like under the street light. One bag of people in our yard, gunshot a bus. Literally these things. This is just one day that I go over our yard. These are things that she experienced on a daily basis, and she did better in school than I did. And so those are the things that I pull from. But my grandmother, once I was able to see that light, once I was able to see those things from her, it was just a different experience. It's just, I don't see the world different. I don't see the world the same since then. So that is my light pole. That's, you know, them say you have the light, whatever that is, the light. That's that point that I look for. Like, how does she, that's what I do. So that's my inspiration. That was so long.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Grandma was creating a legacy.
Yes, ma'am.
Grandmothers are the
Still
best,
don't
Risha. You know, you talk and I'm just like, where would we be without our grandparents? And as Sophie spoke, what came to my mind was like a legacy of strong women in my family. And as you spoke, I was thinking, and that all began with my grandmother, who, like you, and not the first time, girl, not even the 30th time, I'm thinking, how did that generation do the things they did? I'm exhausted.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know where they got the energy. I don't know where they got
social media. Okay, they weren't on Instagram scrolling.
Can we blame Instagram? Because no,
I blame the internet, the whole internet.
The things that they accomplished. Like, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the time I grew up in. I know it's on the cusp of a lot of great things now, and we're technologically advanced, and we're doing so much better with respect to communication and travel and blah, blah, blah. But like, as Misha is talking, and I'm thinking about growing up the way I grew up, like my earliest years, TV wasn't a thing. I mean, the community was a thing. Spent my earliest years with my grandmother, because my mom and I lived with my grandma the first 7 years of my life. And I spent that time with my family and doing things in the community. Everybody always wonder, why Sharifa know so many hymns? listen, they are embedded in my head. Everyone's always
Yes, Sharon.
surprised.
Yeah.
I don't need a
Me
hymn book
too.
for never.
Me too.
For never. And it's so funny though. They come to me at the oddest times and they're so comforting. And I used to walk up and down the lane with my grandmother, and I was her truck. So she was giving Bible study. And if a Bible text was said, I was to read it. If a hymn was said, I was to sing it. I was the right-hand woman.
Wow.
And she was really a Dorcas in her neighborhood. She raised her 13 kids plus nieces and nephews plus grandchildren. So I mean, I would just be remiss not to start with her as just an inspiration. And she did not have even a high school education, but she knew that her children had to be educated, and her children are very educated on a nothing budget, you know? And so just her accomplishments and her temperament, she was so sweet and soft, but like a warrior. Let me just tell you something. She's not soft like me. Okay. I have a family of strong women that I look up to. And it's so, I don't know when that transitioned, because I remember in college, up to college, I used to call my mother and say, tell grandma to pray for me. I was like, you're skipping people? Yes, I need grandma.
Right. You need the direct line. You don't
seriously.
When I need no ears,
no middleman.
You're right. We need the direct line.
Grandma needs to pray for me.
Facts.
And I don't know when it transitioned, but more and more I see in my life where my mom, like I see her a modern day person, just like doing all, I'm like, why is she, where does she have the time to do all these things for all these people? Plus her picking them love stressor. So I'm just like, where she find time and energy to serve so much? It's inspirational to me. I've yet to accomplish all of that. Because I'm overwhelmed with just life. I try all the time to, and it's my orientation because of, I think a lot of things, because of my family, because I'm an immigrant, because I come from a country that's poor. Whether or not you live the lifestyle, it's impossible. Well, someone tag me if I'm wrong. It is impossible for Black people from Jamaica to be in a family that's just all well-to-do. Like that doesn't exist. I mean, I'm one generation from, they didn't have a high school education. I think we know what poverty really looks like and want. And I think we know how to kind of come together and make things happen and support each other. So with that orientation, I always have that bent, but I always want to do more. Because I don't know, I guess I see how much impact even just like small things can have on people's lives. And as Misha was talking, I was like, those are kind of everyday inspirations that hit me just as much as my family when I see people. And sometimes people I don't even know. I meet my students and I hear their circumstances, or I'm sitting with a coworker and they're telling me how they came up, and I'm like, what? Like, what am I doing? Let me go do something. I say people's lives are the biggest inspirations, whether or not they make it to like, also they're celebrity and now they're talking on the big screen, or they're my students and I'm listening to the lives that they're leading while going to school. And I'm just so impressed by them and humbled by them. And yeah, I guess a theme is I'm inspired by people who are resilient, and I'm inspired by people who try, and people who work towards their goals. And I think that's even what Carrie, like all of it, you know, that's inspirational to me. Because that's kind of the type of thing that I want to emulate in my life. So yeah.
Yep.
Chef, as you were talking about your grandma and the songs, uh, I remember my grandmother. It's the one thing. It's the most prominent memory I have of my grandmother. Whenever she was around, we would play this one game. You say any word, and the other person must start a hymnal song
Oh
that
Lord.
had that word in it.
Oh wow.
And grandma beat me every single time. And I told her, before you die, I'm going to win. Guess what? She's gone. May the Lord bless her, rest her soul, and I'll yet to win.
You never
But when
do.
I see her again in heaven, we're going to play this game again.
You're
I
still a gonna
do
lose,
it.
miss. You're
Determined.
still a gonna lose. You're still a
Still
gonna
I go
lose.
lose.
Listen, but it was like, that's like the one memory. And I remember when she, to this, I feel bad, but I knew I couldn't have done it. She had one request. She wanted me to sing at her funeral, and I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I couldn't even go inside the church. When I was outside and I heard when they called my name, and it's that my body just froze and my legs just locked. I couldn't move from the spot where I was standing. And my mother ran outside and she came to me and she said, "They're calling you." And I remember I just started crying and I said, I can't move. Like my body literally froze up and I could not move. And my mom said, "It's okay." Because my mother knows me. I'm not a funeral person. Um, and I had said to her, it's the one wish I shouldn't have said yes to because I know I wouldn't have been able to do it. And then my aunt went ahead and she did the song. And to this day, I think I sit back and I said, it's the one thing we had. And I know why she asked for me to sing at her funeral. And I could not have done it. Does that make sense? Is
Yeah,
that
you couldn't do it.
grammatically correct? I just
Couldn't do
couldn't
it.
do it. And I feel bad to this day that I wasn't able to um grant her that one wish. But it's the one memory I have of her and the hymnal songs. That was our thing, our connection,
Mm.
every time she
Mhm.
was around. And we'll go on for hours too, which is why I literally know most of the hymnal songs,
Yep.
word for word. Sorry, Mish and
Interesting.
Carrie, I don't know what we're talking about, but still.
We
I
don't.
mean, I do, but not to that extent. I mean, we
I
used
do not.
to we used to go to church every Sunday, every single Sunday.
Yes,
And we
the
used to do the
songs in the
hymns every
hymnal.
Sunday. Yeah, we used to,
That's
Yes.
true. That's
but
true.
nobody was beating me down for a hymn. That wasn't like we weren't singing hymns outside of church. You just knew the hymns in church, like the same kind of hymns that they would sing, every Sunday. But nobody was like
My
beating me.
grandma would sing them just around the house. So that's how I picked them up. And then
Mhm.
she'd go visit the sick and shut in. And so we'd sing them there. Child, I
Mm.
remember as a teenager when she would visit us at home, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, is this woman up singing hymns?
That was her comfort, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
become mine. It's so weird. And it came way after. I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When you become an
Yeah.
adult, it switches, it changes.
Yeah.
Things just your
It's so
focus
funny how
changes.
generational things get trickled down without even realizing. I heard Elizabeth today singing a hymn, and I was just sitting there amazed because we sing that hymn when we have worship, and I never even realized that she was picking it up and that she was learning it. And she's sitting there playing with her doll, and she's just singing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is some music!" Like I felt really good. 'Cause I'm like, okay, at least I know this to carry on, or it will be
yeah.
pass me into my child, and hopefully she'll teach her child. Because
Mm.
hymns to me are very relaxing and very comforting. And sometimes you're going through stuff, and all you have is a song. I don't know about anybody else, but man, it just does something.
Yeah,
It's
music
like,
does it for me.
yeah. So it was
That's
very, I felt really proud today listening to my 4-year-old singing a hymn from memory. So
I
you go,
know.
girl.
Better than singing Cardi B, so just
Girl,
um,
when listen ready, Joanna. Yeah, no, music does it for me. All kinds of music. Yes, music is my I keep trying to remember your word, Misha. I know that word you're trying to talk about. Like she's your lodestone, but it's not
My lighthouse. I don't
it's
know
like
what it
your
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes, but that, yeah.
Agreed. I can't remember, but yeah.
Are we doing another round?
Well,
Yeah.
if we're gonna do another round, we could talk about also, I was just thinking about this, I don't want to say the downside of having all these inspirations, but there kind of is where you hold yourself to some kind of standard of other people. So, you know, you see other people excelling, like you see people pushing through and they come from circumstances that you're like, how? And why am I not able to do that? Like, why am I not able to get to a point where I can push through? And you hold yourself to some kind of ridiculous standard that it just does not exist. And I know that's a part of me that I also, you know, as an adult have to deal with, or I have to. It's like a constant learning experience where you see other people and you're like, man, you are an inspiration. Like I see you doing things and I am proud of that. And what does that mean to me? Does that mean I should be doing this? Does that mean I can do this? What does that really mean? And I don't want to say that it's a negative, because obviously that drives you, that, you know, should be able to, you know, put a fire within you that says you can be whatever you want to be. You can take it and turn it into whatever it is. But then there is also that, you know, little twinge of why, how comes I wasn't able, just like the whole, you know, it's just because she is a pharmacist, I just needed to be a pharmacist and then I'll have, no. I mean, obviously not. It's a joke, but you know, you look at other people's circumstances and you're like, Lati will always say, she not suffer no more. She suffer enough when she did little. She don't in the suffrage life no more. And of course, I'm like, I didn't suffer. What the heck?
Having FOMO about suffering.
Right. Like, why I gotta suffer now? Let's roll this back and let me put some of the suffrage in there.
Right.
And so you just kind of hold yourself to some kind of ridiculous standard that it shouldn't be. So that's another, I don't want to say a drawback to it, but it's just another twist on you having a different inspirations for different things, or different phases in your life where you can use it in different ways. So yeah.
I think part of that is, you know, learning yourself and how you relate to other people and what your purpose is. Because I think the older I get, the more I look at people, I'm like, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful life. I love that for them. That's their experience. Someone's going to learn from their journey and someone's going to learn from mine, right? And I think that's the beautiful thing about knowing your purpose and living in it, because someone else out there is watching you like, oh my God, her life is crazy. Like she did all these things. She's accomplishing all these things, even though you think they're regular things, right? How you're navigating life becomes a instruction guide for somebody else in some ways. So when I see things like that, I used to have this discussion with an old friend of mine about you can, you know, do all the things right. I think this was something Little Duval said a while ago that I thought was so true. You can do all the things right and still not get the thing you think you want in life. Like you can do all the things. Just because you're doing the thing that you think is good doesn't mean life rewards you automatically. So in my mind, it makes more sense to just understand, okay, what's my purpose here, and just live in that purpose and be true to that. And then it's a wonderful life because you're just living in truth,
Right?
Not because you're seeking a thing that someone else might be like. That's their life, that's their journey,
Right.
you know. So when I look to people and I'm inspired, it's more about like I see myself in them and vice versa. Like we're all here seeking the same things. We all want to be happy. We all want our family to be safe. We all want prosperity, right? Like those things are common. We're all here serving one goal. It's one consciousness. So to me, I get inspired and I'm excited. And I'm also like, okay, what is my role in this? How am I going to live true to the thing I'm supposed to be doing?
Right.
You know?
Agreed.
As Misha was talking, I was thinking, I was like, honestly, one of the other group, and I won't even say it's a person, it's a group of people who inspire me. And I've said this to my mother, and I've said this to my husband or my friends.
Yep.
Now, y'all know my circle is tight and small. Okay.
I won't say what I really was thinking just now, but this is a this is a family show. Keep going.
Carry on.
No, but I think I became more conscious of just how much I truly love you ladies when I was home um with Micah, when I after having Micah, because I had a little time to think, just like process a lot of wild thoughts that was running through my head. And I was just like, I'm so proud of my friends. Like everybody is just doing big things, and it make me want to do big things.
Right.
Like it's like a pull, it's like a drag, but it's not an unhealthy pull or an unhealthy drag. It's a good pull. And I was saying to Hill, I was like, I like my group because they're so, what's the word? Like they're always moving. It's like I'm at the step on the ladder, but I want to go up, and they're never settling. There's always like a drive to want more
Yeah.
and want more. And for every time I feel myself get comfortable and boring in my situation, I look at one of you guys and I'm like, nope, ain't no comfort here. And it's not an unhealthy
Yeah.
drive. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you guys pull out the you can do it out of me, Sophia.
Right.
And I feel like everybody needs that some type of family friend, somebody in their life where they can get that from, and not to be jealous of your friend because
Right.
this friend has that and I don't know. It's not like a jealousy. It's like just it's a healthy
Yep.
motivation,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was saying as you were talking, Mish, I was like, I've said it and I find myself saying it even more. I love my circle because they make me want to be the best of me,
Agreed.
and I don't think I say this to you ladies often, but I truly love my circle. And Carrie don't know which circle.
Too
Why-
many circles. It's a
Why
Venn
you gotta
diagram.
bring Carrie's
A
circles into
You
this?
got a Venn diagram.
Right. Why you gotta bring Carrie's circles into? Carrie got a whole Olympic thing going on, okay? The rings.
Not
Okay.
an Olympic thing.
Why you couldn't just leave it? Which
I am
part it
so
there?
upset with you right now. Not an Olympic thing. That's like 10 circles. Bam. Bam.
But Carrie, I wasn't even gonna go with 10.
I mean, the
know.
Olympic rings are like the people like tattoo it on themselves. That's like the epitome of like greatness. All right,
Greatness.
the greatness. So if you go in there, you might as well go all out.
That is true. I agree.
I'm
I
so
agree.
done.
But I do want to tell you, ladies, thank you because you do inspire me to be my best self. And on days when I just get comfortable and bored and just can't be bothered, I think back on one of you guys and I'm motivated again. Like I get back my push and my drive. So I do want to thank you, ladies, for that. Honestly speaking, and that is coming
Same
from
to
my toe.
you. From your toe.
My toe. Is it from your heart? It's coming from my toe. I go all the
Not
way
the
up
toe.
Not the
from
toe.
the big toe,
My
straight
gosh.
through.
Oh.
Serious.
You know it genuine.
Serious. It is serious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
we love you too.
You.
Oh,
Hashtag.
Always.
Appreciate
I love
that.
you, my soul.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
I don't think you say that enough to the people we see every day.
That's true.
I'm a do soon every day, so then if you say it every time.
It's true. That is true,
We
Misha.
don't say that. We don't.
Just
I
saying.
definitely think so. To your point, when I look at my circle, and my circle is small, I have circles, yes, but when I think about my core circle of friends, they in many ways are like just everyday inspiration,
Right.
like just you're like, oh yes, how is self-balancing all of this, whether it's church, the kids, school, so you take it for granted. Maybe it's just me. I
Mhm.
take it for granted. I'm like, when I think about it, I'm like, that is crazy. I'm exhausted. I need a nap at 4:30, right? And so when I think about it, I'm like, but she's doing it every day,
Right.
right? So
Exactly.
it's easy to take for granted. So I'm glad you
Mhm.
brought that to the forefront. So because I do think there's so much value there that we don't always acknowledge
Mhm.
because we see it all the time. So we're like, oh, okay, I got it. I good.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you bringing that here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Word. It's true.
Word.
Word.
Everyday heroes.
Word.
And I
And
think
let's never minimize the stuff that each of us, I guess, each of us are doing.
Mhm.
Because you're right. Some
Listen,
people
I was talking to
don't
Carrie the
know.
other day. Carrie said me she get up every morning at 5:30 to take the train. I said, do what now? Every day I drive for how long? And then how
5:30.
long back on the train? What kind of like? And it's so funny because I know I've always known you work in train, and I know you must have left your house early, but you just never hit home what time you would have to get up
This
to get
explains the
on that
9
train.
p.m. bedtime now. This makes so much sense. So much sense now.
I was like, wait, every day it hit home like what in the, and I'm here complaining about my 1 hour traffic on the parkway to work.
That is a
I
long time. 1 hour. What is happening
said,
Everybody,
here?
at least I don't have to get up at
everybody burden
5:30.
shape different, but it's
Shape
heavy same
different.
way.
Right. So
Like
what
if you not dash your phone one, me not pick it up. Me I
Me
keep
no
mine.
want
Me I
food one, me
keep
keep
mine.
mine.
Okay? Me I keep mine. You can't keep it. You know what it.
but I'm saying like just that conversation, it just hit home like you don't know what a person
Yep.
their struggles, right? You just see them becoming great and greater and just greater, but you don't know what it takes. You don't know the behind the scene. You don't know the work they have to put in. And you just see the beautiful flower as
Right.
it blossoms, but you don't know. I'm like, would I really take that job to get up at 5:30 to go on that train every morning to go to training? I don't think that's my ministry. That is
Right.
not my calling. I don't think I would have done it. But you're doing it every day and you do it with a smile. And I can't even tell
You don't know
that
nothing
it's a
about no
struggle.
smile. Stop it.
On the train, disgruntled. Like,
Meeting total strangers.
I'm done. I take offense on behalf of her friends that she has acquired over time. So
okay.
On
strangers,
the train. That
they
is her ministry.
don't
That's why she
consider
was supposed to be
themselves
there.
strangers. They
Right.
think they're in a circle.
They are in a circle. Don't be rude. They are in a circle. The circle might be off to the side. Might be very
It might
blurry.
not actually be overlapped.
No. The circle is not overlapping anywhere. It's like a blurry circle made of
Circles
like
the sun when you're drawing as a kid and the sun
right.
is over
Yep.
here.
It might be right, but it's a circle and they friends in their head. Okay. Don't get it twisted now. Okay.
I apologize. Carrie, tell him I'm apologizing, please. My bad. I'm wrong. I'm very wrong. But no, I am very, very, very proud of you guys. I am. You just have no idea. But if I don't say it very often, please note. I see you. I know the struggle, and I'm very proud of you guys.
Same.
Same, likewise.
Same, definitely. And I realize in my old
Same.
age, my over 40 age, I'm telling you, I'm doing this every episode because get used to
What?
it.
Yeah.
No, for like 2 years, and
In
still,
my
guys,
over 40.
no one is 40. Just
No.
for the record.
Put it
No
out
one
there,
is
please.
40.
In my over 40 years, I realized that if you're in my circle, and whatever that circle look like, it could be the train circle, child, whatever circle that is. If you're in the circle and you are not inspiring me, then it's a waste of a space in the circle at this point. Like there has to be some kind of motivation. There has to be a reason. And of course, I also hold myself to a standard where, I would like to motivate others. But not going out of my way to do that, just living life and making the best choices that I can and doing it to the best of my ability. But if you in the circle and you pulling me down, you got to go. Like if you are not motivating me to be better in whatever way that is, if that's just breathing and it's not motivating me to be better, then you got to go. My two all parted us look different. Okay.
Not too old. But it is true though, right? There's pruning. There's this natural pruning that happens. That's just in my mind. I'm like, that's just natural. Like nature does it all the time. We should be doing it in our lives. This is just a natural part of the cycle. So that pruning happens, and you know.
I like that. I like the idea of pruning. I'm just gonna run with that forever now. See that?
Mercy.
I'm just gonna do that.
Forever.
I haven't heard from you in like 2 years pruning.
I'm pruning. See how that rolled off the tongue? I like it. I like it. I'm gonna
nobody
use it.
for prune.
Mercy.
Yeah, don't
Never
prune
pick them
already.
up,
That's
right,
why.
Charlene, you never pick them up. They never get picked up at the first.
No,
place.
Shara's in a
Listen, I will
winter
tell you
season.
something. I will tell you something, and I tell everybody before I tell them this. God is gonna humble me one day.
With what?
What? I pick some of the best friends in the world from I was a child, and my mother says it.
Yeah.
There is no friend I have that is not just stellar.
Yeah.
And me, I
That's
gotta
true.
pick up myself, I joke. But I'm just grateful. I'm just very fortunate. Seriously, I'm like, God must go humble me one day. Something's gonna happen. But I've been blessed my whole life. My friend, them are the best. Nobody's perfect, but they are the absolute best.
I'm a ringleader, so
I
will take all of that.
You got all right. Y'all already see.
God.
No, I've always been aware that I'm blessed, and my mom always says it because she meet friends over time.
Yeah,
kids friends. So yeah,
that is true.
That is a blessing. That is a blessing to have.
It is a blessing, but that's also because I'm very reserved, guys. I'm not okay, not to my friends, but to the general.
I'm like,
so I don't tend to pick up friends a lot because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who want to be my friend.
I'm done.
We gotta have a whole episode on making friends in your old age. No new friend.
That be beat now.
Friends in your old
More
age.
like not making friends.
Yeah, like as you transition.
They're a different kind of friend. They could be said they're friends, but it's a different
This is why Carrie have so much circle. This is why Carrie have so much circle.
Carrie can justify all our circle then.
It's awesome.
Yes, I have a circle of exes who are friends.
I kind of have that too, though.
Really?
I don't really know anybody
if they're good,
except for I'm gonna be like,
I'll be like Lee. I think you can still maintain a friendship.
Yeah.
So, you're not talking every day.
Is this a whole conversation we need to have separately on? Can you be friends with your ex?
We should have a separate conversation for this.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's over, it's over.
It can be over, me and your friends still.
You should make up a
that's
song.
why. No, that's why we don't need your friendship.
You can inspire me.
It might be different though when you're married, because I mean, it's different when I'm a single woman, even if I'm dating, right? And your boyfriend or partner at the time is like, okay, you're still friends with this person. It's not like you're talking to the person all the time, but they could call you. They have a problem if they know it's something you've done in the past.
Okay, guys, we're gonna pause here because this is certainly a whole episode. I'm telling you. This is certainly a whole episode. This is
okay. We'll come back to this one.
We have to come back to this. Yeah, we're going to have to come back to this episode because Soph's face just now.
Like, what are your problems and why are you calling me?
What is this?
Okay, okay. One more thing for the pin stick. One more thing for the stick, the pin stick.
Pruning.
Them need pruning. One more thing. I always used to wonder why men need to check in on their exes. Like, don't they have best
Women
friends?
checking on their, and no, because
Like-
I had this conversation.
We don't like when they say
It
like,
needs to be an episode.
oh,
I'm
just
telling
check
you.
it to see how they doing. And I'm like, but they don't have a sister, a cousin,
No,
a
no,
job.
no,
They have nobody.
no.
Okay.
They checking to see if you still interested. That's what they checking about. But
If
I'm talking
you still
about
single and
apparently-
finding.
If they're
I'm like-
breadcrumbing, that's different. That's different than we ended up being friends after,
Right.
even though we have completely separate lives that are, and it's
How are we
it's-
having this conversation? I thought
All
we were
right,
going to
the
do this in a
pin
whole
stick.
episode.
All right, the pin stick, the pin stick, the pin stick. All right, all right.
Thank
well,
you.
well, let's
Clearly
reel it back
happen.
and say I love y'all for real in real life. In real life. I mean, 4 seasons later, obviously y'all love me. It's no doubt.
I'm done.
Listen,
it's clear.
this
It's clear.
That's true.
It's
That
clear.
is true
Clear.
because if
Okay.
Ain't
people
no
really
doubt.
know people life,
let me tell you.
The fact that
Let
y'all
me
could
tell
squeeze
you.
in an hour in your life to do
we need to
this.
talk about all the days I've showed up here with no bra.
Child, you hashtag you already know. You come as you are, come as you
In
are.
my pajamas, put
This
on a
is what it
shirt.
is.
Come as you
Bobisha.
are.
Come as isn't that in the Bible somewhere? I don't know, but it should be. Come as you are, okay?
You are
It should be.
hilarious.
I'm just
So
glad that we did enough episodes that they're buried somewhere. Never to
the
see
bras
again.
are buried. What are we burying exactly?
The bralessness.
The
Oh,
footage.
never buried. It's the internet. It's never buried. Anyway, love y'all. This was great.
Love you guys too. This was a nice reminder.
There you go.
Yes.
To carry through the rest of the week. Week done.
Yes.
Week done.
Word.